Hokie hangover. Appreciate you guys tuning in, folks. Sorry we don't have a live show for you this week for our UVA preview. However, we did want to make sure that we got you a UVA preview because this is a big game. Obviously, happy Thanksgiving to everybody. By the time this comes out, it will be Thanksgiving. So I hope you guys are enjoying everything with your friends and family. Mike, how are you, sir?
This is the second podcast I've recorded this week that is not live due to varying schedules for Thanksgiving. Mostly mine, by the way.
Yeah. Well, we'll obviously be here for a UVA recap probably this weekend. We'll wait and see. Andrew is not going to be able to join us tonight. He's still with family. But we wanted to make sure that we talked about UVA, obviously, the big game on Saturday night. But more recently, Mike, and maybe more importantly for the future of the program, Virginia Tech got its first new commitment since the James Franklin hire. This was a recruit that visited for the Miami game, and that is running back Messiah Mickens, who is listed at 5'10", 210. If you go to 247, he's listed as a 4-star, both by their ranking as well as the composite. I'm not going to pretend to know a ton about Mickens, Mike, but based on the reports out there and what folks are saying about him, it seems like he is at least a good prospect.
Yeah, highest rated Virginia Tech running back commit since David Wilson in 2009. So
That's a big deal.
that'll play. That's a big deal. I tweeted something similar. It's not lost on me that Virginia Tech hires James Franklin to save the program, and his first running back commit's name is Messiah. not lost on me that that was the thing that happened. He's from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. He was previously committed to Penn State, so you're going to be seeing several of these, I think, based on what we're seeing on the old recruiting boards. All the recruiting sites are indicating that Virginia Tech, unsurprisingly, is in on a bunch of these guys that were previously committed to Franklin at Penn State. So this hopefully the first of many coming down the pipe here next week or so before signing day.
Yeah, Franklin is really relying on a lot of these guys to fill out his first class. A lot of coaches don't get to have this kind of potential impact in their first recruiting cycle because there just isn't enough time.
Mm-hmm.
But Franklin is joining the program essentially 3 weeks, maybe a month before other coaches are generally joining their new programs.
Yeah.
That time window is critical, Mike. I mean, they got a round of official visits in against Miami, which, as I mentioned, Mickens was a part of that. They were planning, I don't know if they're executing it, but they were planning on having official visits this weekend as well while the team is away. So Franklin is really squeezing the most out of this short time frame that he has to get visits in.
Yeah, he's gonna have guys on campus this weekend too, which is significant, right? I think that's why both Franklin and Virginia Tech wanted him, or anybody really, installed as the next head coach before Miami weekend, right? To give him opportunity to recruit. Franklin especially wanted that.
Yep.
So that's why, as we mentioned, and as James Franklin had mentioned himself in a number of interviews he's done since becoming Virginia Tech's head coach, he really wanted the opportunity to be able to get a leg up. And he's been very open about that. He's been very open about the ability to recruit here over the next couple of weeks before National Signing Day. And it's an opportunity that not a lot of other schools are going to be afforded. I mean, as we sit here today, I mean, Colorado State just hired Jim Mora. Oklahoma State hired Eric Morris yesterday on Tuesday. So like a few of these schools are going to have about a week before signing day, but Franklin having that extra weekend, I think, is really going to help him a lot. So yeah, it's significant. I mean, Mickens is the first one, and again, it seems like he's going to be the first of several. And I think when you have the opportunity to show off your campus and have be able to host a lot of guys, having that second weekend helps a lot too, because you're getting down to the wire here with guys who are uncommitted, or in this case, in several cases, committed to Penn State, but looking to flip. For all intents and purposes, they're uncommitted because Franklin's not the coach there anymore.
Yeah.
You really like having 2 weekends is really crucial because these guys have visits elsewhere. You know what I mean? And a lot of guys who weren't able to make it down last weekend for the Miami game are able to make it to Blacksburg this weekend to see Franklin while Virginia Tech is on the road at UVA. will they be able to take in the game day atmosphere? No, but will they be able to meet with Franklin and get a feel for campus and stuff like that? Yeah, they will. So it's significant to have that second weekend before National Signing Day to be able to, or before a dead period, I suppose, to be able to meet with these players and give you an opportunity to try to convince a few of them to, or several, to come home, right? To
Yeah.
get in the boat and sign. So I think having that second weekend is really crucial, and Franklin's going to try to capitalize on it.
Yeah, and this is the only scenario in which you would ever be able to host recruits when you're not playing at home because the coaching staff, if they're out on the road for a road game, they're not going to be able to host guys.
Right, of
But
course.
obviously, Franklin is not involved with the game day operations right now, which means he is able to focus entirely on this incoming class of both high schoolers and transfers, and that's huge for a roster that needs a ton of help as
Yeah.
we go into 2026. Um,
The
and
other
yeah,
thing too, Ricky,
yeah,
real fast. The other thing I forgot to mention really quick. He can have Franklin, since he's a new coach and because there was a coaching change. Several of these guys were recruited by Pry, took an official visit already to Virginia Tech, but were able to then take a second official visit, which ordinarily is not allowed. But because there was a coaching change, Franklin is able to get these guys on campus again. So, like, if they had familiarity with Virginia Tech's campus under Pry, now you have an opportunity for Franklin to sell these guys on the campus too. So,
yeah, and Franklin's mentioned this already many times, but there's a dead window in recruiting after the season, and the ability to get in touch and get in front of those guys for this 2 to 3 week period since he's been the coach before that dead period that so many other programs will not be able to get is so critical. And I think it will give him a leg up on this recruiting cycle. Obviously, he's not going to be able to pull every one of these guys. I'm sure one or two of them will look elsewhere for other offers and may take those, but Tech is at least trending positively for a lot of these guys. We'll see how many he's able to get in the boat early. But Mickens' commitment being the first one probably helped make the decision for some of these other recruits a little easier. Um, it's a lot easier when the first guy goes through the wall and you can follow suit. And hopefully that's going to be the case for guys like a Matt Sieg or Roseby Labentis. These are other guys that Franklin either had committed or were seriously considering committing to Franklin while he was at State College.
yeah, Matt Sieg's a big one. I mean, a top 200 player, 247, and a two-way player, played a lot of safety. I think it seems like, based on the stories I've read about him, a lot of the scouts think he probably projects the defensive side of the ball and he'll just probably play safety at the
Yeah.
college level. But I mean, he had Notre Dame in on him, Indiana in on him, obviously Penn State. Hokies are going to try to land him. He's announcing actually on early signing day on December 3rd, and he's going to be a CBS Sports Network commitment on television, which is actually pretty funny. The last Virginia Tech commitment on CBS Sports Network, Ricky, was Ramon Brown. And I remember that because I was in Hawaii on my honeymoon. I told Kate, I said, I think we're going to get a huge commitment today. And I remember watching that by the pool. Of course, Ramon Brown never came to Virginia Tech. He ended up decommitting, as we all remember. But that was a big deal at the time.
This is why I don't pay attention normally to
Yep.
recruiting until not the NILs, but the NLIs are in inside.
Yes. Yeah.
Once you get that national letter of intent emailed or faxed, however the hell they're doing it, once that sucker is in the building, then we can start talking about the class and start really digging into these guys and where they fit in the program.
The good news is this time around, if Matt Sieg actually commits on December 3rd, he will be signing on December 3rd. So that's the good news. The timeline lines up
They'll
this time.
probably have the NLI submitted before then.
Correct. Yeah, it won't be a situation like Ramon Brown where it was middle of the summer he committed kind of randomly and then did not make it to Blacksburg.
Yeah. But we'll see. Franklin's got a little bit more time, obviously, and he's got plenty of guys on his board that he's trying to get in the boat before. because this roster needs a lot of help, and we saw it last week. I wrote about it after the Miami game. The Miami game was a perfect example of the talent gap that exists between Virginia Tech and the programs that they're trying to compete with, Mike. And for this week against UVA, I don't think that there's as large of a talent gap. Let's give UVA some credit. UVA is 9-2. However, that 9-2 is, I think, comes with a bit of an asterisk, Mike. For those who haven't been paying attention to the Who's this year, let's go ahead and run through their schedule real quick because I think that that's important to provide some context here. Coastal Carolina, week 1. This is a bad Coastal team, I believe.
They're bad.
48-7. Who's NC State in a non-con game, which still is irritating as hell. They lose that 35-31, and then UVA ripped off, 7 straight. But that includes wins against William and Mary, Stanford, Florida State before we found out they were mid.
And that took overtime.
Double overtime in that game.
Overtime's plural.
Overtime against Louisville. They win that game.
Louisville's kind of bad now.
They had to come from behind to beat Washington State, who's not very good.
Bad. Yep.
They needed overtime to beat UNC, Mike.
Got stopped at the half-yard line on a 2-point conversion play.
Yeah. They beat Cal the following week by 10. They lose to Wake Forest, which was huge for them because if they don't lose that game, they're in the driver's seat for this.
Yeah.
And then, Mike, really maybe their best win of the year was last week against Duke, where they doubled up the Blue Devils on the road.
They looked really good. Yeah.
And it seemed like maybe UVA got their swagger back a little bit, but this offense runs through Chandler Morris and Jamari Taylor. Obviously, Morris he was pretty darn good for the early portion of the season, and then lately it's been kind of hit or miss. He went 2 touchdowns, 2 picks last week against Duke. But Jamari Taylor's been really a constant all year. And whenever Morris is playing well, he gets the ball to Charles Harris. And next thing you know, this UVA offense is cooking. And statistically, they're in the top 30 for scoring.
Yeah, Virginia's offense has been good all year when Chandler Morris has been healthy. When he's not healthy, it's just a totally different outfit. And Jamari Taylor's a good back. Like they got some players.
And for those of you that may remember, Virginia Tech was reportedly accused of tampering with Jamari Taylor before the season because Virginia Tech was recruiting Jamari, but obviously did not bring him in.
Not tampering, you're not trying.
In this day and age, unfortunately, yes.
Yeah. There was an ESPN article that went up, I think it was ESPN, talking about how there's going to be multiple commitments when the transfer portal window opens at like 12:01 a.m. in January. So just be ready for that, which isn't a surprise. Not a surprise.
It's literally NBA free agency.
I was going to say, yeah.
Like Shams has got the tweets locked and loaded. And at 12:01, he's letting them suckers fly.
Yeah. It's crazy. I'm glad NBA stopped pretending and they just like in recent years they're like NBA free agency actually like there's like a legal tampering period now and that opens like 3 days before. I'm like I'm glad we stopped doing the whole charade. We're just
and for those of you saying that Virginia Tech should have worked harder to get Jamari Taylor, Marcellus Hawkins with less carries is averaging more yards per carry.
Yeah.
Than Jamari Taylor, and he's in a timeshare.
Right.
Like Marcellus has not been the workhorse back for the Hokies like Jamari Taylor has.
Correct. So Virginia's offense, like Chandler Morris, that's the best he's looked in about 5 or 6 weeks. Last weekend against Duke, healthy as he's looked.
Threw 2 picks.
Yeah, healthy as he's looked for sure. Virginia's offense is good. I mean, Virginia they're 9-2. I think they're more like an 8-4 type team. I'm not saying they're not any good, A lot of people are going on social media saying this Virginia team's not any good. I don't believe that. I think they've been getting away with it. Obviously, they've won multiple overtime games and that sort of thing.
They can't keep getting away with it.
Yeah, yeah. They're, this is what happens when you have these bigger conferences. Is there's just the imbalance and the difficulty to be able to really tell how good a team actually is. But Virginia's offense is good. You know, they avoided Miami, they avoided Notre Dame, which is not
Avoided
an ACC
Pittsburgh. They
game, but like
ordered
avoided
avoided
Pitt.
Notre Dame. The only
Right.
team I think in the top third that they've played so far, maybe two teams, Louisville and Wake Forest,
Yeah. I mean, they
and
didn't
they
get Georgia
lost
Tech.
to Wake.
Yep. Didn't draw Georgia Tech. Didn't draw Pitt. Didn't draw Miami. Didn't draw. I know Clemson's down, but like didn't draw Clemson. So that helps, right? You got to take
Yeah.
advantage of the schedule you have. Something that like North Carolina wasn't able to do, for example. They very easy schedule, same itch, you know. Same. We could have been talking about North Carolina the same way in theory. So there is something to be said for winning the games. That said, like this is a Virginia team that has definitely taken steps forward under Elliott this year. They obviously hit on a portal quarterback, right? And Chandler Morris, that's gigantic.
On his fourth team, by the way.
Mm-hmm. And he's been good for a while. He's just a little undersized, and so that probably limits what pro scouts they think he can do at the next level. A little bit of a gunslinger, but a very good player. So I think Virginia Tech's defense that has been not great and has obviously been hamstrung by an offense that is very one-dimensional has its work cut out for them this weekend for sure. Like this is not going to be an easy game for Virginia Tech's defense. Has to be ready to go, has to be able to stop the run. If you don't stop the run, Chandler Morris is going to carve you to pieces. Like you have to stop, you have to at least slow down Jamari Taylor to be able to give you an opportunity to get some pressure on Chandler Morris.
Yeah, and to Virginia Tech's credit, they did a much better job stopping the run against Miami in the second half last week. But for this defense, Mike, the Hokies have just been pretty bad for the last 3 games, giving up a ton of points. They went a stretch here over the last couple of weeks, like 6+ quarters without forcing a punt. Just giving up tons of yards up and down the field, tons of points. And I know that the offense hasn't been putting many points up on the board, and that's putting some pressure on this defense, Mike. But one thing the Hokies have done a lot of is control the ball because they've been so effective at running the football.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like this defense is having to get put out there on a bunch of short rests and it's just getting worked. They're getting adequate time in between possessions and still struggling.
Yeah. Yeah, it hasn't been good. I mean, the front seven's been struggling outside of like Calvin Gilliam and Kamari Copeland, who have been pretty consistent all year. Everything else has been kind of a mess in the front
Don't have
seven.
much of a pass rush. They had 0 sacks against Carson Beck last week.
Yeah, he carved him up. I mean, this Miami, the Miami offense is obviously much better, I think, than Virginia's, but Virginia can do some of the same stuff. I mean, there's some explosiveness in the game. Now they don't have a game breaker like Malachi Tony, but they do have some pass catchers that can stretch the field, make things hard, and the ability of Jamari Taylor, obviously at running back, makes them
Yeah, I
balanced.
worry about what could happen with Tech's defense if they try to zero in on Trell Harris.
Yeah,
Because Cam Ross has proven that he can be an effective kind of second weapon. Sage Ennis has 4 touchdown catches this year at tight end. He's been very reliable around the goal line. You've got some options on this UVA offense where if Virginia Tech shadows Harris too much, they could open themselves up elsewhere. And we know how much Virginia Tech has, at least the last couple seasons, really struggled to cover tight ends, especially in the flat. I imagine we'll see a lot of Sage Ennis in the flat in this game. I think that'll be something that UVA will certainly test this Hokies defense on. But I honestly think the big player that needs to show up on Saturday, Mike, is Isaiah Brown Murray.
Mm-hmm.
IBM's been picked on a little bit sometimes. He's looked good at times. He doesn't have a ton of help around him, Mike. The injuries at safety have put some freshmen back there at times where he's dealing with guys who are still figuring out how to play. So he doesn't have a ton of help around him. He's been up and down. He's probably going to draw Trell Harris a lot on Saturday. Maybe not every down, but a lot. IBM's going to have to play his ass off. He's going to have to play his best game. If they can keep Trell Harris from destroying them without having to put two guys over on him all the time, then this defense has a chance to hold up against Chandler Morris. Now, like you said, if they can't stop the run, it doesn't really matter much. But I do worry about Trell Harris's ability, especially after what we saw Tony do last week, where he just wrecked the defense from start to finish.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Trell Harris is their best receiver. UVA does have 4 guys who have caught 30 or more passes this year, right? So Morris will spread around if he needs to.
Yep.
But yeah, Trell Harris is a really good player. So Tech Scott's work cut out for him defensively.
Offensively, too. Yeah. I mean, UVA's defense statistically is top 30, top 40 in the country.
Mm-hmm.
We did find out this week, Mike, that starting linebacker Cam Robinson is out. He unfortunately tore his ACL last week. Hate that for him, obviously. It's a break for the Hokies because Cam has been a reliable defender in the middle of this defense. And for an offense that leans on the run as much as Virginia Tech needs to, that's going to be a boon to this rushing offense.
I agree. I agree. I mean, I think Virginia's defense as a whole, I think it's probably better statistically than eye test would tell you, right? Like I don't think this is going to be a game where it's going to be impossible for Virginia Tech to run the ball or anything like that. I think the Hokies can run it here.
And for what it's worth, Miami has one of the better run defenses in the country, and Tech almost put up 200 on them.
Yeah. Tech's been running against everybody. You know, they've been running, but the issue is that the running game gets slowed down at all and you have to throw, you can't. Mm-hmm. So it's just been, the passing game's been so bad that it really puts you in a tough spot. We'll see what that looks like on Saturday. I mean, I think Virginia Tech's going to try to commit to the run, shorten the game a little bit, because UVA's offense is explosive enough where I think if they get the lead or, you try to sit on the ball, I think Virginia's in a spot where, they're going to be pretty comfortable in either scenario, either playing from ahead or playing from behind. I think from Tech's standpoint, you almost prefer that you're playing from ahead because this passing offense for Tech's been bad this year. And I don't know who we see a quarterback, by the way, either. Like, I don't know if it's, drones or Pop. You and I speculated on the last pod. It's probably going to be drones again, I'd imagine, if he's healthy. So we'll see there. But yeah, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see. This isn't your traditional. It's not your traditional spot, right, where Virginia Tech is like own this rivalry, and you feel like you have a like real good chance going in. I don't feel that way because this offense has been so one dimensional for Tech this year. Do I think Tech can hang here? I absolutely do. I think they can hang. Virginia Tech winning the game would require an effort that we haven't really seen on a consistent basis this year. Because even against this schedule, like this UVA team is good. They're flawed, but they're good.
And they've beaten teams like Virginia Tech all season.
All season. They've beaten flawed teams. So to look at their schedule, right, and be like, all right, who have they played? Who have they beaten? And then I'm not talking about you in particular. I'm talking just fan base wise. And then in that same breath being like, well, UVA hasn't played anybody, so Tech can win this game. Like, yeah, I mean, Tech can win the game, but it's not it's not because UVA hasn't played anybody. Tech's one of the worst teams that UVA has played this year.
Yeah.
So we'll see. And this rivalry has a weird way of going the Hokies direction. 23 of the last 25, and this is kind of a lot like the 2019 game, right? In that this UVA team is not as good as that 2019 team with Bryce Perkins. It's not. And the Virginia Tech team that hung in that game was better than this team for sure, right? So you're
Oh
getting
yeah.
kind of the worst. You're kind of getting the worst versions of both teams, but I think this 9-2 UVA team is closer to that 2019 Virginia team than this version of Virginia Tech is to that 2019 Virginia Tech team. You know what I mean? So I think Tech still has its work cut out for it, even if you go back to the last time Tech lost this game. And that was a close game, right? I mean, Tech lost by 10, but it was a late score by UVA. It was like a 2 or 3 point game. I mean, this rivalry
Shannon
always
Hooker
has a
had a
way of being
shot to
close.
win it on that
Yeah,
drive.
for sure. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing I'm going to watch for, Mike, is can Virginia Tech hold on to the football?
Yeah.
It seems to be an issue for whoever plays quarterback, whether it be Kyron or Pop.
Yep.
They have struggled to take care of the football. There have been a lot of fumbles from the quarterback this year. Kyron has obviously thrown some really boneheaded interceptions. This is not a game where you can get away with that.
No.
If you're facing a bad team, you can get away with having, one really bad turnover potentially, but you're not going to do it against a team that has consistently proven that they can beat teams like you either on their turf or on the road.
Right.
UVA has taken advantage of this schedule, like you said, Mike. Some other teams haven't, but UVA has, and they have to be given credit for that. So it is going to take a pretty damn good performance from Tech to win this game. It's also going to require UVA to play down a little bit. I am inclined to believe that there will be some of that. I don't think that, and of course, I could say this, and UVA wins by 3 scores. I don't foresee this being uncompetitive in the fourth quarter.
I don't either.
I think I
Yeah.
think UVA is in for a bit of a dogfight. I think there's going to be some randomness that tends to show up, and Virginia Tech will have a chance to win this game. Do I trust that they can win this game? I'm on the fence, honestly. Tech has played well enough to win some of these games lately, but they just have these 3 or 4 plays, whether it's a big turnover or a critical penalty when they convert or a penalty that takes points off the board. They're missing field goals sometimes. If they can clean that stuff up, which is a big if, then Virginia Tech can obviously win this game.
Yeah.
I didn't think that Virginia Tech was really all that out talented against Florida State. I was not at all impressed by the Noles when I saw them in Tallahassee a couple weeks ago. Not at all. They did not look like a good football team. Miami, different. I was impressed watching on TV with Miami. I thought Miami clearly was the better team just about up and down the roster. With UVA, I think that they're a little bit better, but I don't think that it's a big enough margin where I think Tech is facing an insurmountable odds situation here on Saturday.
Yeah, and I think if you get into the point where it's a tight game in the fourth quarter, I think the pucker up factor is going to be more on the Virginia side than Virginia Tech side.
Hokies have
Just
nothing to lose. I mean, look,
nothing to lose.
I
They've
know
owned this
that.
rivalry.
Yeah, I know that Tech has that we have to live up to the standard of always beating UVA, but for so long, Mike, the Who's have made this game their program.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that Virginia has done over the last 4 to 6 years, at least, has all been tailored to try and win this game. And to their credit, they did it several years ago. But this is kind of the identity of their program. Virginia Tech is playing with house money. And I thought Kelvin Gilliam, who after the Miami game, he was talking about how Virginia Tech has kept these guys together, and he said that the leaders on the team stood up in the locker room and looked at all the players and said, "Look, you're playing for the guys around you, but you're also playing for yourself. Like if you want your career to continue, and you may need to put some good film up, and that may land you a spot here, and you can stay, or it may land you a spot somewhere else. But take advantage of the time that you have left." And between the senior leadership on the team, the coaching staff, including Philip Montgomery, who again has, I think, doing the Lord's work over there in Blacksburg right now, they've been able to keep this team motivated. And I think that they're going to show up ready to kick some ass on Saturday. Whether or not they do that, we'll have to wait and see, but they're going to be ready to go.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. They'll be ready to play. I'd be pretty surprised if this was a UVA blowout. I think UVA is much better, but just the way this rivalry goes and the way Tech can muddy things up, and you get in the fourth quarter, Tony Elliott's never beaten Virginia Tech.
All it
Like you
takes,
mentioned.
yeah, all it takes is to get this to a one-score game in the fourth, and then it's kind of anybody's ball game at that point. Also, if there's a point in this game, Mike, where UVA turns it over, either like deep in their own territory or they turn it over in Tech's red zone and they take points off the board. Keep an eye on those kinds of moments where UVA is giving away points.
Yep.
That's going to be huge for Tech. Tech needs to steal some points in this game, whether it be a special teams play where they rip off a big return or they block a kick, or they need to force a turnover inside the 20 on either side. Tech needs to find a way to steal some points. And if they can do that, I feel a lot better about their chances to win.
I agree.
Anything else with this UVA bunch?
No, it'll be
This
interesting.
whole week hasn't really felt the same for me. And I think it's because I know this team is deeply flawed, and I know that the program is on to bigger and better things, hopefully next year. But this week just hasn't really felt like rivalry week to me.
No, I'm too locked in on recruiting and
Notre Dame.
Notre Dame. Men's basketball's in a big tournament in the
Yeah,
Bahamas.
2-point win today.
Yeah. So they're playing good ball. So been locked into that and recruiting. And obviously, I'll be locked into this game Saturday, but we'll see. It's just it's different when you're not. The season, in essence, right, has been over since September, so it's really just like the last one. But it's important because it's UVA.
Maybe it is because the season's been over since September. Maybe that's why. You ready to get into some picks?
Let's do it.
So we'll have to get Andrew's picks here from us or from him later on. But we are going to give you ours just to give you guys an update as to where we're at, folks. This is a barn burner, right? So Andrew's firmly in the lead. Andrew, barring an epic collapse from Andrew this week, Andrew is going to win the 2025 Hokie Hangover Pick'em. The more interesting part of this, Mike, is the battle for last. So, Mike, you are currently in second. You're at 43 and 46, which means the team here stinks at picking these games. Izzy's in third. She's at 40 and 49, and I am in last at 39 and 50. So I'm 1 point back at a third. Mike, you are not in a safe zone here. You could easily find your ass in the cellar.
I could.
So we need to make sure that these picks are good for both of us, or else we are going to be pretty miserable in Blacksburg at 1 point. So let's go ahead and get into these games.
Yep.
Friday night game. Criminal that this is in Mercedes-Benz. It's just really annoying. Georgia's taking on Georgia Tech. This game also lost a bit of its luster after the Yellow Jackets pissed down their leg last week against Pitt. Dogs are 13.5-point favorites here. I am inclined to take the Jackets to keep this closer. I feel like this game has been consistently close for the last couple years now.
I'm also taking the Jackets. Brent Key always has Georgia Tech ready to play Georgia.
Yep.
So
And another situation, Mike, where Brent Key has made no bones about
yep.
his desire to beat Georgia.
Yep.
Just like UVA has always talked about beating the Hokies, Brent Key is all about beating the Dogs. Miami's going to Pittsburgh. This seems like a tradition now at this point where these two teams play each other to finish the year. Big game for both teams here. Miami's looking to stay in the college football playoff hunt potentially as an at-large. Pittsburgh trying to backdoor their way in as an ACC title contender. Canes, 6.5-point favorites on the road. Because Pitt has a lot to play for in this game, I think we're going to get a close one. I think 6.5 is too much. I would still bank on Miami winning. However, I'm going to go with Pitt on the spread.
Agree. 35 degrees. Miami's going to have to run the ball. They have
How
not
many
run the ball
times have
good.
Miami left the state of Florida this year? Is this the second time? Because the first time they went to Texas and lost.
They did.
Shout out Ponies.
The Louisville game was at home.
I think this might be.
This is the third time. They went to SMU. They came to Blacksburg, obviously, last weekend.
Yeah, that's right. Well, in Blacksburg, it was in its 60s. So
yeah.
they will be playing in some cold-ass weather. Or as Michael Irvin said, when we were in that cold weather, we were cold. Great all-time tweet. Yeah, I think Pitt keeps that one close. Let's go to the Bluegrass State, Kentucky. 3.5-point dogs at home with the Cards. Kentucky's felt like a bit of a zombie all year in the SEC. Louisville's not been playing their best football of late. That
Lost
said,
3 in a row.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with Louisville, though. Here, I don't have a ton of faith in Kentucky.
Give me Kentucky. Outright.
Ooh.
Win the game. Win it. Win the game. Get to bowl eligibility.
Does that get Stoops an extension? Sorry.
I think if they get to 6 wins, I do think he gets an extension. I think that's written in his contract. I think it's like one of those deals. If they make a bowl game, he just perpetually gets like 1 year tacked on.
What a joke. Florida State, Florida. Talk about a game where nobody gives shit. The only interesting part of this is that Florida State fans wish they were Florida right now because Florida's getting a new head coach and Florida State isn't.
Is not. Yep.
Gators are 1.5-point favorites at home, so this might as well be a pick 'em. Florida State did not look good against NC State last week. They also pissed down their leg on special teams there in the fourth quarter. I do think Florida State's the better team, though, and Florida might be checked out. I'm going to go with the Noles, but I don't feel good about it.
Give me the Gators. Florida State has not won a game away from home since they had 13-1 season.
Fair enough. Ponies, 13.5-point favorites on the road at Cal. Cal just fired their head coach. They're looking for a new head whistle over there. Not sure if they're going to be able to keep JKS next year. I wonder where his mindset is. Meanwhile, SMU fighting for a potential ACC championship game berth. I'm a big Rhett Lashley guy. I believe in Rhett Lashley. I'll take him here to cruise to a win.
Yeah, SMU by a lot here. Like 3 scores probably.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the mindset is for Cal right now. Another near pick'em game, Mike. Wake Forest, only a 1.5-point favorite at Duke. Vegas has loved Duke this year.
I don't know why.
I don't get this spread. I don't know what we're doing here.
I don't either.
Duke just got beat pretty handily by UVA last week, and Wake's more than going to a bowl game. They've been one of the better teams in the conference.
Yeah. Jake Dickert should probably, Dickert or Tony Elliott, I guess, flip a coin. One of them should win ACC Coach of the Year.
Yeah.
If Wake Forest wins this game, they're 9-3.
Absurd.
Another team that's taking advantage of a
Absurd.
light schedule, but I mean, compared to what they were last year, this is like a way better Wake team. Much like it's a way better UVA team. Same deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, give me Wake. They've been better coached all year.
Yeah. I don't know what Vegas is going there. Maybe that's a Vegas knows situation, but we'll see. A game that we thought would have a ton of playoff implications before the year, Mike, has now turned into unranked Clemson versus unranked South Carolina.
Yeah,
Cox are 3.5 point favorites at home. I'll be honest, I have no idea where to go with this game. I don't have a read on either of these teams. Um, all I can think of, Mike, when I see South Carolina now is watching them completely give it away at A&M. Like that's the only thing I can think of now.
yep.
Granted, A&M is really good, but Chain and company had them dead to rights and just gave it away. That being said, this is at home, and Clemson has been up and down. Clemson could win this outright, but I guess I'm going to go with the Gamecocks.
I, I'm going with Clemson, I guess, but I'm not feeling particularly good about this. I do
I don't
like
know
the
that
under.
anyone would feel good about either of those
I
games
do
or
like
either of those
under.
picks.
I would agree. I do like under 46.5.
Yeah, it's probably not a bad bet. Uh, Mike, 3 p.m. on the CW that you need to make sure you DVR this one. Game of the year contender in the ACC. 1-10 Boston College going on the road. They face Syracuse, who just got obliterated by Notre Dame. BC's 3.5 point favorites on the road here. Look, I know Syracuse has been a disaster ever since they lost their quarterback, but you're asking me to trust 1-10 Boston College to give up 3 points on the road and win this game? No shot. I'm taking the orange.
Agree. Well, no, I don't actually. Boston, yeah. You took Syracuse or BC?
I took Syracuse.
Yeah, no, Boston College. Syracuse is more than anything though. Syracuse team total under 24.5.
Free money.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
God, just two awful teams.
They're so bad. Oh my
Yeah,
god.
it's not good. Let's go to the Belichick Bowl. Carolina's on the road at NC State. Belichick has said he understands this rivalry. We'll find out on Saturday. Wolfpack are 7.5 point favorites at home. When I first saw this number, Mike, I thought this was a bit high, and I think it is. However, I'm still going to put my faith in Dave Dorn to win this game.
I think NC State is pretty bad. Now, Carolina's not good either, for the record.
Yeah.
They're not good either. But Carolina's defense has been good, and I don't think NC State should be laying 7.5 against this North Carolina team. I think NC State is a lot closer to what North Carolina is, and their records would indicate, and vice versa. So, give me Carolina.
Fair enough.
It's a lot of points.
It is. It is. I'm not. If I were a betting man, I would not do anything with that game. Want to just take Notre Dame and move on?
Yeah. I mean, we're gonna lay them. Stanford team total under 8.5. By the way.
Hey man, Stanford just picked up a big win against Cal last week.
They did. They did.
Notre Dame didn't get a big win last week, did they?
Scoring 21 points in the first 5 minutes without your offense taking the field is levels of domination I've not seen in an FBS game in quite some time.
The best part about the basketball conference recap show, which if you don't follow basketball conference, go ahead and give our boys a look, was the bit about, well, the reason Fran Brown didn't have the guys run sprints after the game is that they were running sprints the entire game against
the entire game. All they did was run. Yeah.
Yeah, rough one there for the Orange. All right, Commonwealth Cup, Mike. Virginia Tech, Virginia, 7 p.m. on ESPN. This is a prime time slot here. This is big time football, baby.
Yep.
Uh, I think we're gonna have a pretty big crowd. I was looking at the get-in price for this game, and it's about 130, I think, right now. So I think we could have a pretty large crowd. Good for UVA. I know they don't see that very often. Who's our 9.5 point favorites, Mike?
Yeah.
I'm going to let you go first.
Nothing I've seen. I'm 33. Nothing I've seen for a bulk of my lifetime should give me confidence that UVA is going to not only win the game, but win the game by a lot. So the Hokies plus 9.5. I do think Virginia wins because they are the better team, which does not matter. I understand it does not matter in this rivalry. I know that.
They've been the better team before.
But they've been the better team before in Tex 1. I think this year, though, I think Virginia Tech is too limited offensively. I think they're going to have to steal some points. That was a point you made earlier, and I think it's a good one. They're going to have to steal some points somewhere because I don't think the offense has been good enough to trade possessions offensively and trade scores and get into that type of game. Like Tech's not going to be able to do that for 4 quarters with the way their offense is designed right now. So I do think they're going to have to steal some points somewhere to ultimately win and pull off the upset. So I think UVA wins. I do think Tech keeps this game close, though. 9.5 just seems like a lot of points given the history of the rivalry and how things have been. But there just hasn't been a ton that I've seen out of Virginia Tech to give me confidence that they are going to be able to actually pull this off. But I also don't think Virginia has been good enough to be laying that many points in a game like this, even at home. So Hokies plus 9.5.
If Virginia Tech wins this game outright, Mike, let's go ahead and get the Philip Montgomery statue RFP written now.
Yeah. Yep.
I've been a stand for Philip Montgomery for all season. I think he's done a tremendous job, and I do think he's going to have the guys ready to go. Like I said earlier, on paper, UVA is clearly the better team on both sides of the ball. They have the better quarterback. Tony Elliott has had a pretty good coaching job this year to pull off some of these close games. The flip side of that, Mike, is that UVA's played a lot of close games against teams that they probably shouldn't be playing a lot of close games against. There is that pucker factor, like you mentioned, that I think may come up in this game.
Yep.
If you put a gun to my head and told me I had to bet this game, I'm betting UVA money line, but 9.5 seems a bit much. Knowing that me saying this means UVA will backdoor cover, I'm gonna take the Hokies. I don't feel like UVA is going to be able to run away with this one. I think we're going to be biting our nails off with 30 seconds left in the fourth quarter to figure out who wins this game.
Yeah.
And we'll see where the chips fall. So
it'd be hilarious.
If you know what would be funny? If Virginia Tech wins this game, UVA just pack the shit up, man. Just
Pack it up.
Quit playing football. Just give it up. That or like move to Conference USA. Like just get out, get away. If you can't beat everyone's beating Virginia Tech this year. Everybody's beating the Hokies.
Yeah.
If you can't win this one, maybe that'll be it. And
Charlottesville
I will say,
College
Mike,
for the performing arts, baby.
I do want to say this. If Virginia Tech does somehow win this game, even after the season he's had, Tony Elliott is going to catch a ton of shit.
He is.
He will catch a ton of shit if they lose. But
I need to see it just for social media. I got to see it.
The memes, Mike, will be glorious.
Wait till the UVA football account posts the final score. Oh my God. The replies would be so funny. I need it.
Oh man. Yes. I think we all need it.
Are the lives of you and I going to change all that much if Virginia Tech loses this game? No. I mean, we just hire James Franklin.
Yeah.
Everything's good. It's all good.
See you next year.
See you next year. It's all good. Like, this is going to be, the outlook's going to be much better next year.
Yeah.
Now, my life changes dramatically if Virginia Tech wins this game now. Because, man, I'm not going to be able, you're not going to be able to keep me off social media.
Oh, man.
We're going to be pissing a lot of people off.
Hey, man, look, we've said it before, but if you're Virginia, you better get us this year.
This would be the year to
You don't want the smoke
year.
next year. You do not want the smoke next year.
Or basically for as long as Franklin's here. Yeah.
UVA is one of those teams, Mike, that is a portal team. And we talked about portal teams before. What happens with portal teams? They go up and they go down.
Mm-hmm.
So who's better get it while you can. That's all I'm going to say. If you're going to this game on Saturday, God bless. I think it's going to be a very, very cold, but it should be a lot of fun. I will not be. I'll be watching this game from the comfort of my couch. Well, like I said, we'll get together with a recap to finish this game. Home Field Apparel, Counts Family Pharmacy. Make sure you support both of our sponsors. We appreciate both of them very much. They've been supporting the show for quite a while. Very thankful for them. Make sure you follow everyone on X. Make sure you subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or whatever, Google Play, make sure you follow or subscribe so you never miss an episode. Until that recap, folks, and as always, let's go get the cup. Go Hokies.